Well, look what I've got here. Bass Machines Botanica. I know I haven't weighed in on the windowless packaging yet. This seems as good a time as any, right? I don't care. It doesn't worry me in the slightest. People are getting upset because like, but what if people poke at my toys before I poke at them? What if they take an accessory? Well, that's why they've started putting them in the bottom from now on. But also, you know, anything that can be done to reduce the amount of garbage on Earth is surely a good thing. Plus, people were taking and swapping out figures and pulling all kind of hijinks long before they were windowless. So, you know, let's make our peace with that. Like the fact we're making peace with the fact that Arcee is not a car. Life, finds a way. Alright, now I've only been fiddling with her for a couple of minutes, but I feel pretty comfortable saying already that I think we've got a contender for my new favorite Arcee figure. She's great. Just real solid. It's a really great looking sculpt. It's got that really solid like Bumblebee Cybertron aesthetic of like some real robot-y bits and then some quite smooth shapes and lines and things like that. Some great panel work. I really like the way that the most detailed bits are almost that black endoskeleton that we can see inside of her armor. It's nifty. It's a great look. And I'm a big fan of this little thing. It's just something different. Breaks it up a little bit. Don't super think that the ventriloquist dummy face is what we actually saw in the movie, but it's pretty cool. It works with that whole Cybertronian aesthetic. It fits, right? It fits the mold. Also, whilst we're taking a look at her under the macroscope, she has sculpted eyes. They're not just lenses, they're actual sculpted eyes. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Transformer before. That is some tiny, tiny detailing, because she's not a big figure. Kudos, man. Big ups, big props. This is phenomenal. It's freaking me out a little bit, if I'm being honest. Smooth apps, great tampos, those eyes are insane. Enough different molded pieces and different colored plastics to break her up. The Arcee plague of the colossal backpack, in this case, really doesn't worry me. You've got like, it is a backpack. Arcee, I think, is pretty well always gonna have a backpack. But it feels like it makes sense, right? Vehicle mode has to go somewhere. Plus, these cool bits are kind of articulated. So, you know, it can almost be like, jump jets. So let's just dive right in and have a look at the articulation on this. Proof that big things come in small packages. So that phenomenal head is on a really good bowl joint. I find the better the bowl joint, the more expressive the figure ends up coming out. And this is definitely the case with Arcee. Also, big lookups, which works well with those jetpacks.
Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
Style out! Arms do a full 360. They're on like a cool universally sort of thing. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. That's as much elbow as anyone could reasonably expect anything to have. No wrist swivel, but you do get a bend inwards. I have to assume it's for transformation. Maybe it's not. We've got a waist swivel, which kind of makes her torso go and her hips go on a bit of an angle as you twist, which just adds even more life into the mold. Awesome bowl jointed hips, that then also have a thigh swivel. Nutbush city limits. Her knees, I had kind of expected them to go a little bit deeper, and I had at first thought as well that maybe this was a double joint here, but it isn't. But that's still like a crisp 90. You can get some real hero poses out of that one. Then she's got an ankle tilt as well. You can see through these bits here, but I feel again like that just leans into the whole like the Bumblebee of it all. The Cybertron of it all. I like being able to see through this. I think it makes it seem more robot-y. These toes are a little unusual, but they work, right? It's doing the job. They are toes. They're more toe-ish than regular toes, potentially. All in all, it means she can throw some incredible shapes and you can achieve some incredibly dynamic action poses out of this figure. I've said it before, but I think one of the best things about the Bumblebee Studio Series line is that they didn't have their hands tied by having to make sure that they accurately represented two on-screen modes. All we got was this, more or less this, and then they could pretty well just summon up any alt mode they wanted that felt even remotely purposed for that character, and it's led to some real special figures. She's just so delicate, because she's so little, but you feel it. She's got some of that IDW, like,
You want to ram with me?
It is difficult to keep her in focus because she's so small and delicate, but it's worth the constant camera adjustments because she pops. So in terms of accessories, we get a couple of little blasters. Pow pow. Which again, given that supreme articulation, means she can throw some awesome shapes with them. Basically, she's one of those great figures where you don't have to try to get her into an angle or a position that makes her look cool. In fact, the only issue that I really have with her so far is the eyepieces keep wanting to kind of, as you move her about, come open. I think they're meant to be shut like that. The little slit doesn't look too bad, but I don't think it's supposed to be there. Pew! Alright, let's have a look at a few comparisons to put her into some context. Let's start with some of the other Bumblebee Studio Series figures. She looks right at home amongst the Bridge Boys. I guess they're the Bridge Bots now. She's also apparently got a pretty big role in Rise of the Beast or Attack of the Base or Phantom Base, whatever the hell it's called. So that'll be exciting to see. Hopefully they can, you know, do a figure as good as this one, but I somehow doubt it. I dare say she'll end up with an entire car on her back. But what do you do? Not buy it, I guess, if you don't want it. Ah, who am I kidding? We're gonna get it, right? We'll buy it. It does seem a little sexist that she doesn't have some heavier armaments. So something I didn't show you before when we were having a look at the accessories, you can actually take these guns. They've got those little tabs that correspond to some ports on the guns. So you can go ahead and tab those in. Once they're on, they're pretty on. They don't super come off. Alright, they're not going anywhere. That's some fun weapon storage. She could actually reach them as well, which is, I think, something that's so often missing from weapon storage. It's a little thing, but it's something that I like to see. That also leaves her hands-free now to take on some bigger weapons. I'm gonna take yours, yeah. And I'm gonna take yours. There we go. That's much more the Arcee that we've come to know and love in recent years. Heavy artillery Arcee. Do-do-do-do. Yeah-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now that's a cool look. She also has the tolerances to actually be able to hold and wield these guns. Just another point in her favor. God, this is a good toy. How dope does that look? I've just noticed that Ironhide also has actual sculpted eyes. And just on a side note, while we've got him here, does anyone else think he kind of looks like Christian Bale? Where is she? Off-white on eggshell. And here she is with an array of other pink ladies.
Yeah, but this time we're seniors.
And we're gonna rule the school.
Now, is it just my imagination, or is Arcee at her best when we're not trying to slavishly G1 it? The more freedom they have, the more the figure, to me, ends up feeling like Arcee, if not necessarily looking strictly like G1 Arcee. I mean, this wasn't terrible, if you forget about the alt mode. Looking at this, is anyone keen for the 86 Studio Series Arcee? It really doesn't do it for me. Alright, as much as I'm loving her robot mode, let's go ahead and have a look at her alt mode, which I've kind of been thinking of as like a Tron bike or an Akira bike kind of mode. Let's take a Bo Peep, shall we? Flip the feet. Fold, pull, twist. Like so. Come around, bend these bits down. Still not super sure why. Close the feet up, and then we can attach them. Right, pegs and clips and clips and pegs, so just find where they sit and clamp them together. It can take a little finagling, but once you get it, you know you've got it. Twist that waist around, separate the chest, and pull this whole assembly to give yourself some clearance. Come around the back, fold those out, flip this piece down, and then our head will disconnect. Pull this bracket down to make that sit flush, and then you should, with the right amount of wiggledy, be able to make a head sit in there. Close that windscreen back up. Then you basically want to pull this entire shooting match down so that these tabs go into these ports. Because she's so articulated, it can take a little bit of wiggling to get it to do what it's supposed to do, but you will be able to get it without too much trouble. Like this. Then there's these ports here that will tab on here, like so. Then we just want to take these arms and fold them around like this. Reminds me a little bit of Siege Chromia, honestly. Then these pieces, we can just twist those around, and they've got tabs here and ports, and they're just going to fit over like cool covers. Again, a little bit of wiggling to make it happen, but you can make it happen. You'll feel when it's all doing everything that it should be doing, it actually comes together quite beautifully. like so. And then you just take those guns, very Chromia style, put them in. I don't know if they're rear guns or if it's exhaust ports or whatever you want to call it, but it's something. If nothing else, it's weapon storage in vehicle mode. And there we have it, Tron biking it. And as an alt mode, I gotta say, I think this works really quite well for Arcee. It's, I guess it's a trike, but it's very futuristic looking, or ancient as the Transformers case would be. But it's definitely not something you'd find on Earth, and it is a little bit reminiscent of a G1 self. This honestly is what I expected Siege to be when we first heard that we were getting Cybertronian alt modes, and the wheels actually spin fairly well. I would honestly be happy if they did what they've done to Megatron and just pretended that he was never a gun. Let's just pretend that Arcee was never an alien sports car, and just go with something like this, because it works so much better. Just so much better. She's got a little bit of that brawn thing where it's like, I'm not sure what this bit back here is. For picnic baskets? And I guess there's a cockpit there. Who it's for, I do not know. I would love them to explore that more in the fiction. Like make, you know, a bigger deal of the fact that the Quintessons embedded that into their design or something like that. But either way, this is dope. It's really quite tidy. And that's pretty well that. Honestly, with the exception of maybe Blitzwing, I think she would have to be my favourite of these Studio Series Bumblebee figures so far. And I still stand by it, even by the end of the video. I think she might be my new favourite Arcee figure. There's just something about it. She's got star power. She's got star quality. She's just good. If you're on the fence, I really go out and get her if you can, because she is the bee's knees. What do you think? Be sure to hit me up in the comments below. Are you standing over this Arcee figure as much as I am? I really can't stress this enough. She's phenomenal. She is fantastic. I really want to know what y'all think. Who's got her? Who's planning on getting her? If you do have her, do you like her? If you like her, like this. If you don't like her, like this video. Just like it. Like it, watch it, share it. I would really love, by the end of the year, to have at least 2,000 subs. I don't think that's an unachievable goal. Boo boo be doo.